Now, while it is bizarre, it is wrong that the idea that 300 people run the world because they're the richest, but it is true. So, 1420, one of our favorite channels, okay, one of our favorite Russian channels, went around asking Russians, do they think Putin is doing the right thing by threatening the world with nuclear weapons? You know, a lot of people say Putin is a crazy one. I guess this video seems to dissect if whether a lot of the crazy has also descended to the Russian public. Let's see.
And also, check this out. Do you think Russia will nuke the West, asking New York City? And it's the first part. And there is also a second part on a channel called Extra Extra. It's the quick promotion. I actually already promoted Extra Extra. And
so Putin recently said, Putin will take me after this video. No, no weapons. Peace. We are pacifists. Let's avoid weapons. Base, dude. Like, he was like, I don't even know what your question is. Fuck Putin. We're pacifists. Goodbye. Did not even. Whoa. He did like drive by, just like, screw Putin. We're pacifists. End the war. Peace. Goodbye. Boom. Perfect message. Wrapped up, delivered, done. Perfect. Super based. We definitely must hit them first. But actually, it's better to avoid it. I mean the nuclear weapon. I like his, like, we must nuke them first. But also, you know, the world. It's a serious thing. There are also ordinary people there who don't agree with all of this. It's all the machinations of the officials. Normal people live there just like we do. All this war is unfortunately started by politicians. To use a nuclear weapon on the US before they do it. Are you crazy? Even Vladimir, even Vladdy, we'll just call him Vladdy. Even Vladdy says it, and he's not the last important person in the country. He knows better. Let him decide. He's the president. I trust him. I love that at first when he asks, hey, should we nuke America? She's like, what, are you insane? Well, even Putin has somewhat suggested it. Oh, well, you know, he knows best, so, you know, I trust him. Like, in one moment, she knows it's insane. But then, like, once Putin's name is introduced to the situation, now it's like, oh, okay, well, now it's perfectly rational to use a nuke against the United States. Would you give him permission to do that? I'm telling you, he knows better. He will not do that. Putin says the right thing. Does he just scare them or what? He warns them. Why do Americans think they have the right to do this and that? How many people have they killed in the last 20 years? Hundreds of thousands, almost millions. You can take Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan, etc. Why do they think? By the way, I'm sorry. You can't, I'm just gonna say, Russia, as we were doing that, was invading Georgia, was invading Chechnya, they flattened Grozny to the ground, was bombing Syria, and was invading and fighting with Ukraine for the last 8 years, and now has expanded that invasion. While it is true that the United States invaded a lot of countries, you know, very true, very bad, you don't say that from a position of, like, superiority as like, from the Russian perspective. Like, it is a valid criticism, but don't be like, they get to do it, we should be able to, when the Russians have actively been doing it. Toadfall with the Prime being sub for 2 months. Hey, Dylan. Just want to say how much I appreciate all you're doing with the Ukraine coverage right now. I'm mostly a YouTube video watcher, but wanted to throw some support behind you. Cheers. Thank you. If you really want to know how to support me as a YouTube watcher, Patreon is the big thing I'm pushing hardcore right now. Because if I see the Patreon, like, a $sign, and I know exactly how much money I get, then that's exactly how much money I can allocate into my journalism. All that money comes back into my journalism. Or to me, like, just like basically scraping by. And so thank you so much for coming here to support the channel. Dropping your Prime, it means a lot to me. I hope you're enjoying the DylanBurnsLIVE videos on the second channel, which is where my daily uploads are going on, and DylanBurns TV for my main channel stuff. Link now. I'll sub. If you put exclamation point Patreon in chat, it should pop up. Thank you, by the way. Thank you, Toad. 1 second. I'll put it. Patreon. Oh, there it is.
Burns is a
Take Yugoslavia in the 90s. Putin's only giving them a warning. Why do people always bring up Yugoslavia as if I'm gonna say, oh no, we shouldn't have stopped the Serbs from doing, you know, horrible killings? Like, Yugoslavia is like the worst example people ever bring up of like bad military interventions. Cause like, you say what you want about the American bombing campaign of Belgrade, the war's over. The war ended, the genocide stopped. Zan Chow Cha, thank you so much for the tier 1 to be sub for 13 months. Bezos wins for now until I get my burner number for PayPal. Understandable. Understandable. I understand it. I don't know. I hope it won't happen. He was declared an international criminal, so if Russia loses, he will suffer a terrible fate.
Burns is an immoral, morally
What he has to lose then? I think he'll figure it out. Dude, I love the blind faith in Putin. He'll get it. He'll get fucked, man. The thing is, like, I constantly try to emphasize to you guys, like, dude, like, Russians are not a monolith. They're obviously different. And these videos help show that. But fuck, man. Just like it's true in our society, there's some people that'll just be like, you know, I heard this, so, but, you know, it's true. Fuck, man. You know how there's people who are like diehard Trumpers? Putin has the same people. Left Hand Stew, thank you for the Prime being sub for 6 months. I appreciate the Subarino. Thank you. Man, I still can't believe I haven't figured out a way to do any content with Left Hand Stew. Maybe it's because he's a dirty maple-back Canadian, but I should find a way to do something with him. I don't know what. I saw he was having a lot of fun with AI art recently, stealing the art of artists in order to have fun with it. I don't know why he would do that. Did you guys all know that Left Hand Stew uses AI art, and he hates artists? And you can all boo him in chat right now by adding Left Hand Stew and booing him. You could do that right now. I'm not saying you should harass Left Hand Stew. I am saying you should harass Left Hand Stew. That is a lie. Harass Left Hand Stew. With follows on Twitch and Twitter, of course. AI art is great though, Monka S. It is incredible. I hear artists like complaining about it, and I understand their complaints, but the fact that I can AI generate like a penis on a tricycle is like, that's special. And I think it might just be a natural part of human development. It made me a sexy sci-fi rebel soldier in like half of them, lol. Wow. Left Hand Stew, I think that's a message from God. You were meant to be a spaceman. You need to take over Elon's operations at SpaceX. We can't do that under any circumstances. It would be an atomic war with America and the whole world. They all will be destroyed, just like us. If we destroy them, no one will touch us. How's that? They have a ton of atomic weapons. Despite that, we have more and stronger. They have a lot of it too. Everyone is well aware that no one will survive this. Honestly, can I be for real? I used to think that everyone was aware that an atomic war would really, really suck. But as I've continued to watch this war unfold, I feel like I've slightly underestimated the amount of people who know this. Cause like, I'll hear Kevin Castley like starting up, you know? I'll hear Kevin starting up about, you know, we can win a nuclear war, man. Just like give us the word. And I hear like some Russian citizens like talking about it, and like certain Russian officials like, and you know, I'm starting to think like, do they know this? I'm sure I'm positive the Russian government knows that they can't win a nuclear war. I'm positive they know. I don't know that about the Russian people. Some of the artists getting some of the Twitter artists getting mad that I didn't pay them are not better artists than the AI. I'm sorry. Oh my god, that's so true. Recently, I saw an artist like very, very upset because people used AI art to make their art better, and they were like, fuck, what did I spend my life doing? It was so sad. It was so sad that they're going through the same experience that like the Caboose Men did, or like, you know, the same experience that I assume like the automated checkout robots like went through. Once I'm done my reporting earlier next week, we can talk about the Canadian connection to the German coup shit, Lamau. The German coup shit was insane, dog. The Reichsbürger people, the people who believe they're citizens of the Reich, trying to overthrow the government. Did you hear, Left Hand Stu, did you hear that they tried to get in contact, and may have been, we don't know for sure, in contact with the Russian government? We know they tried to contact the Russian government to like get the support of Vladimir Putin for the Reich's coup, which is hilarious to think about. Fucking people who believe they're citizens of the Reich and reject the authority of the German government going to the Russians for support. The wilder part of it is, I think if it had a chance of succeeding, the Russians probably would have given it the go-ahead too. Because it's part of Russian strategy to cause as much chaos internally as possible. The Russians have very openly and clearly like given signals to the far right internationally in the West. Whether that be Marie Le Pen or the Italians or of course the domestic American audience. That was not a coup, it was just a crackdown. Dog, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but those were just like weird Nazis who wanted to overthrow the government and monarchists. It was like a weird combinations of Nazi fascists and monarchists who wanted to overthrow the government because they don't like how Nazis and fascists tend to lose in democracies because most people don't like Nazis and fascists. And if you can't vote the gay away, then you just purge the gay away after a coup. So, I mean, it wasn't just a crackdown by the Germans angry and stuff. They were legitimately cracking down on people who were planning to overthrow the government. They seized weapons. Big Canadian Reichsbürger contingent hilariously. I'm going to be speaking with the ambassador or someone from the embassy next week. That sounds like an interesting story. The Canadian Reichsbürger. Could you imagine Justin Trudeau has to meet the new Reichs ambassador, and like they're shaking hands. He's like super embarrassed that he has to meet this like new weird neo-Nazi monarchist government. And they're like, thank you so much for the support. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. Okay, I signed up on Patreon and now have to get going. Keep up the good content. Thank you, Toadfall. I really appreciate the support. Thank you. How many people did they arrest? They arrested 25 people. As the last time I checked, they arrested 25 people. 21 to 25, I remember in my head. I don't know how many people since then. I didn't say that the Reichsbürger nerds were like good organizers and they had thousands of people at their disposal. Most coups and most rebellions are failures. But that doesn't mean they weren't trying. Anyway, back to the Russians. Scaring is allowed. You can say that we're gonna launch a bomb and all that.
Сказать, что мы запустим бомбу.
It doesn't mean it'll happen.
Не знаю, что это будет по факту. Есть комитет 300.
There's the Committee of 300. Do you know about them?
Это люди, которые...
These are the people who run the world. These are the 300 richest people. These people sit in the shadows. No one knows about them.
This_1 got a tier 3 subscription.
Oh, tier 3!
Sub for 3 months. Thanks for all good work you and your crew have been doing.
Thank you so much for the tier 3 sub. Man, that's an elite class you just joined, this one. You and I think Captain TBT are like the 2 tier 3 subs that I know of. You have joined the elite class. You're the elite of the elite. Like you're my like backroom kind of like banker, puppet master backer, you know? You're like you're like the shadowy like cloaked villain in the background whispering in my ear, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I remember my stockholders. Thank you so much for the tier 3 sub. We don't get a lot of tier 3 subs, so every time we get it, it's a special occasion. Thank you. I appreciate it. The Committee of the 300 won't let this happen. Now, while it is bizarre, it is wrong that the idea that 300 people run the world because they're the richest, but it is true that, unironically, I think that there is a lot of pushback against Putin using a nuke, and it is from the financial interests in Russia who understand that, like, it's kind of hard for them to be wealthy if the whole world's on fire. And so that's the thing with self-interested, rich nerds, is that as long as you don't touch their bottom dollar, they leave you alone. The problem is the nuclear war would touch the bottom dollar. And there is something to be said about greed as a disincentive for the Russians nuking the world.
Есть
By the way, the same exists on America's side too. We just haven't been making many threats to blow up the world recently. We don't have to make those threats.
политические какие-то...
Yes, there are some civil wars, political intrigue of some kind.
Они, да, на-
Americans are pressuring us because they don't have resources to
для
further the
дальнейшего
country's
строительства.
prosperity.
У них нет ни нефти, ни
They
газа.
have no oil, no gas, no
Угля.
coal. We have it. Dude, I'm sorry. I don't know where this perception of America came from in this guy's head, but America has coal. I don't know. Like, I grew up around West Virginia, going to West Virginia much as a kid. There's coal in this country. There's coal in those fucking mountains. We have oil in the United States. We just always want more oil, right? There's not a problem of like, oh, we're going to run out of oil in the United States. It is a question of like, how low can we get the price, you know?
У них нет ничего. Поэтому они развязывают войны в Ираке. Там, в Иране.
That's why they started the war in Iraq and
Да,
Iran.
Потому что им
What war in Iran? I'm not familiar.
нужно...
That's why they come to us. They need to survive. They have nothing.
То есть они хотят...
Те слова, которые он говорит, грубо говоря,
The words he has been saying since 2000 and his actions are at odds. His words and his action doesn't match. It's a problem. Millions of people, if not hundreds of millions, don't even look back at his
В
promises.
отношении, допустим, к 100 миллионам, да, или к миллионам, грубо, людей, сколько человек возвращается к его рассуждениям. Как бы люди...
In my opinion, people just live their lives and not look at where they were what they were promised.
Слышишь, да, им обещают, что в будущем будет все хорошо, там, да, там, что-то мы строим, развиваем и так далее. Но никто не отменяет, допустим,
Speaking of Putin,
Путин, да.
whose palace
Чей
is it?
дворец, да?
Oh shit! Okay, so domestic Russian political memes. Alexei Navalny, large, like, well-known critic of the Russian government. Sorry, I needed to sneeze. Long-term critic of the Russian government, opposition figure, currently in prison for, you know, being that. He released a video exposing a lot of Russian corruption, and in that video, he heavily talks about how luxurious Putin's palace is, and he covers it and talks about like $300 like toilet cleaners and like insane stuff. And so amongst the Russian opposition, Putin's palace is a constant topic of mockery. Yeah, here it is, right there.
Серьезно, не знаете?
Где-то я такое видел.
Да, стоит в Геленджике.
He used to make a lot of promises, and a lot of them didn't come true. In 2007, he promised that we would live in a state of bliss, but it never came to fruition.
Так оно и не срослось. Он очень...
He expressed himself very dashingly at the beginning of the operation. He said that we'll use it as soon as possible. He said that he would put his main tools into action. But when the situation heated up, he somehow reduced his aggression.
Он сбавил, скажем так, свою агрессию. Наоборот, говорит, что...
On the contrary, he's now saying that we are not ready to use nuclear weapons. I talk about this all the time, but the flip-flopping of the Russian position on the nuclear weapons is one of the clear indicators to me that they don't want to use them, and they're probably not going to use them. Almost certainly not going to use them, is because, and this is agreed upon by most people who know what they're talking about on this issue, that if Russia was to use a nuclear weapon, it wouldn't be like, whoa, that was out of nowhere, where did that come from? It would be like them explicitly coming out, we will use this nuclear weapon this day, we will use it if you do not do this A, B, and C. Because the Russians know there's going to be massive backlash to them using a nuke, and so they want to use as much pressure as they can out of a nuke, get as much out of it as they can, but they never want to actually use it. Nukes are much better as negotiating tools than military tools. Definitely, since it would mostly in this war just be a weapon of terror.
Так активно, то есть импульсивно бросаться в пыл. Вот он последнее заявление, да, грубо говоря, этому говорил.
Как вот вы
What's your
думаете?
thoughts on the nukes?
Культурно выражаться.
Do I have to express myself in a civilized manner, or can I use foul language?
Ядерной воды не будет, а это
I think there won't be no nuclear war,
Какая-
and this fucker will die.
самое главное наше.
The most important fucker.
Ага.
Ага.
А не думаете, вот то, что он
Don't you
просто,
think he
ну,
just
пугает
scares them?
таким образом?
Естественно, да.
Definitely, yes.
Он создает эту атмосферу.
He creates this
напряженности,
tension.
Да, чтобы... Он же все время...
He always lies,
знает,
you know
что он
that.
Постоянно врет. Так что чего от него
What else
ждать?
can be
Я
expected from
думаю,
him?
что он слишком
I
любит
think he
себя,
loves
чтобы
himself
поступить.
too much to do this. Oh my god! Oh god, sorry, it was too base for me. It was too base for me.
Ну, а для чего тогда
What
вот
does he
это
do
вот он
for it
делает?
then?
Для чего? Для того, чтобы...
To make everyone
подумали,
think
что
that he is really capable
на
of
что-то
something.
способен, хотя он ни на что не способен.
Even though he's not capable of anything anymore. They already planned to leave to Venezuela.
Там уже готовят ему. Но, в общем, я
I'm a very knowledgeable person on the
что,
subject. I probably know all the
что вы,
same
наверное,
things you do.
знаете, то же самое я и готова вам сказать. А вы
Damn. Oh, grandma critic of Putin. My goodness. Base grandma. Base grandma.